Hello, Namaste, Sat good evening. Welcome to the S.S.Chandhok talk show. I'm your host and moderator, S.S. Chandhok. Today, on a lovely evening, we have gathered here to talk about a very beautiful topic, mathematics, pain or pleasure. We have seen that students, they start facing problem in mathematics, especially during their middle school. After grade 5, they lose interest in mathematics. There are certain reasons due to which they lose their reason. We are going to discuss about this. What are the reasons behind this, that why they lose their interest, and how can we make maths more interesting and fun loving for them today. So today, first eminent guest present over here is Sunana Nakwal ma'am. She's a principal of a very prestigious institution in Jaipur, that is Alpha International Academy. Welcome, Sunana ma'am. Nice to see you after a long time. It's first of all, thank you so much for coming. First of all, ma'am, we will like to know about your educational journey, ma'am. Did you came into this profession by chance or by choice, and from a teacher to a senior principal? Ma'am, you're on mute, ma'am.
Yes. Good evening, sir.
Good
If I
evening,
talk
ma'am.
about my educational journey or if I talk about my childhood dreams, I never wanted to become a teacher. And whenever I looked at my teachers, they were so strict, they were so scary, and they used to speak a lot. They had to have so much of energy, and I was scared of that. I never wanted to speak that much, and I never wanted to become a teacher just because of that image I had in my childhood. But later on, I had dreams of becoming a designer also, an architect also. When I was in college, that time I developed this interest of interacting with others and taking small children's classes. And that was the time I realized that there was a teacher inside me. And I loved children from the beginning. Like I was young and I loved to play with the children. So slowly after marriage, this was considered to be the safest profession for the ladies at that time. So I was told to do B.Ed. Okay, B.Ed kar do, it will be like useful later on. So after marriage, I had kids. Then I thought of trying it, and that is the day I never turned back. And it has become my passion, and I love teaching, and I love being with the children, and I love the energy they give to me, and I forget every tension I have. So being a teacher has been a beautiful journey of my life, and the most amazing part.
That's wonderful, ma'am. And you had been in Jaipur for a long time. I mean, uh,
Yes, it's been 25 years now.
25 years. That's wonderful, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, and welcome once again, ma'am. Next, we have Dr. Hemlata S. Murthy, ma'am. She is a director and principal of WPS Group of Schools, Bangalore. Welcome, ma'am. Hemlata, ma'am. Nice to see you again after a long time, ma'am. I keep on seeing you in the social media. You're on mute, ma'am. Yeah, we keep on seeing you
Yes,
in social media all the ways
yes,
when all the time you are so much into the social media with all the wonderful things you are doing in education and society. Thank you so
sir.
much, ma'am. And ma'am,
Yeah, tell me,
please,
sir.
please let us know about yourself, ma'am.
Yeah, as you have been telling, it is Dr. Hemlata S. Murthy. I was into the research field. I am a microbiologist basically. I had been into the interest of me becoming a doctor, but maybe the circumstances didn't understand and give me that opportunity. That maybe I had a better way of exposing and sharing my thoughts and view to the world in a different way. That led me to become a lecturer, where I was a lecturer for 11 years in MS Ramaya Group of Institutions, Bengaluru. After that, I thought I will take up administration as my career. Then went with me doing as an administrator, where I got to get an opportunity to become a principal. From there, my journey has never stopped. I always thank the Almighty and my parents and my husband, who's given the support for all that I've been doing. Where I pursued my MPhil, I got my postdoc, and where it is again the education for child and development, where I have been doing excellency. So there where I understood is that we will have to do something for the rural blind. Even today in Karnataka, I'm serving Solika group, that is a tribal society where there are small children and the nurtured children who are lacking and not understanding what education is all for. Where I go to the company group of reservoir, I try to be with them for the tendency of giving them, preaching them, making them come to the open atmosphere of world, and where I'm sharing whatever is required in my vision and my way, that they can come up and do something better for for their themselves in the future. This is how it is. And I never stopped, as you've been telling me that I'm always there on social media. Only reason is that the media is also helped me to move and improve myself in a lot of a better way. So that way I'm always there, here and there, connected with my research field as well as my education field, and been giving continuous changes in my way, what I can try to give it to the younger generation.
That's
Thank you.
wonderful, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, once again, ma'am, for coming up to the show.
Thank you.
Next, we have Vipin Kumar, sir. He is the principal of a very prestigious institution in Moga, that is in Punjab, Delhi Convent School. That this place also, as we know, that Punjab is also famous that, for the children going to abroad, they're especially going to Canada. So that is a culture there in Punjab that after every second home, the child is going to Canada. Canada is just like a second Punjab to all the people who are living over there. So welcome, sir, once again, Vipin sir, into the show. So, sir, please tell us about yourself also, and tell us about that. What is the curiosity of the parents when they are taking admission in your school? And because they might be saying to you like, okay, we want to develop the child in the way that he's able to get, get much bands. What you say in your IELTS exams, the bands, and they can move to Canada. So, what are their expectations also? And sir, please let us know about yourself. Sir, you're on mute.
Thank you, sir. Actually, the belt where I'm working as a principal, it's a more challenging job for me, as well as for our school management. That we are working here in the rural area, and the staff mostly crowd in this area or the belt. They are moving towards the abroad. So it's a big challenge for us in the district Muga, because most of the schools and the management, they have the common problem that what is the future of the schools after 5 years and 10 years. The most of the younger youngsters and the generation growing grown up, they are moving towards the abroad. So sir, right now it's a big challenge in front of us. So keeping in the all these things in mind, and also having the tough competitions in surrounding schools, a lot of schools, they are ICSC CBSE schools are in just a walking distance of the 200-meter 500-meter. So keeping the things, we have to maintain the our school curriculum standard decorum, and accordingly we are just have some parameters. We have designed the curriculum according to the needs, and we are catered about the demands of the area. The mostly in this area and the belt, the students, they have the they're mostly fascinated towards the abroad. So we are providing the free IELTS classes to the students. Secondly, the problem is that students, they are having the backward areas, so they're having the communications problems are also there. So we are working on that area. The language problem is also there. So it's a big challenge, and the toughest job here to work as a principal. Really, it's a toughest job. From the last 4 years, I'm working as a principal, but I have never been means worked hard so much. Till now, I'm working. Still, I'm sitting in my office, and still, I think we have to work late hours. We are planning every day how to we can compete, and how we can raise the strength of our school every year and every time. So accordingly, sir, the parents also demanding. They are asking for what you are giving extra. What are the extra things and that you are giving? So why we send our child to your school? So to convince the parents, and to explain the strategy that what we are doing in our school, and to convince them for their inquiry to convert into the admission, it's a big challenge here. But still
Absolutely,
we
sir.
are happy and to accepting all these challenges, and problems and working hard a lot.
Yeah, absolutely right, sir. I can understand because I know a little about Moga because that has become a hub of learning also as of now. So many branded schools are there. Z School, PPS, many brands are over there. I had been knowing few peoples in Moga, and I've been seeing that the education is developing more and more. And
Yes.
the brands they are trying to overtake the schools which are on the local level just because of their name. So that you have for that you have to maintain your standard, you have to maintain your
Yes.
education so that the parents remain satisfied. That is also
Yes.
very important. There's a cutthroat competition everywhere, sir. And Moga is
Yes.
not a small place now, sir. It's a big hub of schools. What I'm doing till now. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir, for coming once again. Next, we have the expert of the show, Mr. Nirmal Shah. He's the co-founder of Counting Well, a maths learning app for middle schoolers. Their goal is to make maths learning easy, anxiety-free, and participative for children across the country. Their focus is to help the so-called average students become more confident with maths and develop great problem-solving skills. They step in where school teachers are not able to provide personalized attention due to lack of time and bandwidth. They are also providing designing career courses or lessons based for the age group of 10 to 14, build up around mathematics. Their funda is that kids must know that maths matter and it will matter throughout their life. The best way to do that is to show them how. So basically, when we're coming back, like Vipin sir was also saying, and we all know there's a cutthroat competition everywhere for the schools when we have to raise up the learning standards of the students so that the good results are over there. So basically, when we talk about these things, and before also you people had come, so what conclusion do I make is that everybody will agree that maths and English are the subjects which are the basis of the students which have to be taken care of. So today we are talking about mathematics, especially after grade 5, when the students, their chapters, their learning increases, they start having phobia of mathematics, due to different reasons. So we will talk about that also today. But we'll welcome Nirmal Shah, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for coming once again to the show. You had been quite busy. You're traveling throughout the country. There are so many schools I've been hearing, so many big brands who are working up with you and they are welcoming you. I have seen that in their websites, they are also writing that how much their app is helping the students as well as the teachers also overall. So, sir, first of all, we will like to know from you that how did it came, the courage came into yourself that to start up or something related to mathematics? Because many of the principals, when they come up to the show, they say that we had a phobia of mathematics always. So how are you? How did it came into mind to start this up venture, sir? And tell something about Counting Well, how it is helping the students as well as the teacher.
Sure, sir. Thank you, and always a pleasure to be on your show. It's great to meet some wonderful academicians, and it's always been a learning experience for me as well every time I come to your show. Um, to answer your question, how did we get the courage to do something about maths? I would say that वो जो कहते हैं डर के आगे जीत है. It's the same thing, when you yourself go through that kind of a phase, then you want to see how you can help make other people's lives easier, right? And of course, all of us, at least I have, and many people I know, have been through that phase of maths phobia or maths anxiety or whatever we call that during our learning years. And then when I got into my career, before starting Counting Well, I was leading a software company. I was managing its India operations, and as part of what I did, I used to hire a lot of people from IITs. Now, one of the things that we would do when we interview them is to test them on very basic, analytical, numerical, all these kind of skills, because we know that a lot of so-called programming skills which are taught at these institutes are not something that we would use in our organization in the end. So the best was to actually evaluate them on the basis of all these very basic level of skills. So what I found is when we interviewed them on math, especially, they could answer questions which were related to very specific formula, right? So if you ask them a particular formula, they would tell you exactly what it is. But if we turn it around and ask them some very basic questions, what we realize is that the basic fundamental understanding of the subject was lacking even at that level. And that is not the problem of IITs or at IITs. The problem has actually started much earlier, right? The problem has taken birth in the earlier or the formative years. So what I sensed is that this is something which needs to be fixed, but it cannot be fixed at the IIT level. It has to be fixed at a much earlier level. Then I saw my own son going through this whole phase of moving from the primary school to middle school and above. And while he was doing that, I could see a change in his attitude towards mathematics in particular. All that excitement that he used to have about finishing his homework quickly, coming home and doing it as soon as he got home, that started changing. Now, some of it, of course, could be that because of the developmental years and all that stuff. But what I also realized is that uh, the content was changing as he got into middle school. Now the number of chapters was much more, the complexity was much more, and also he had started to see word problems coming up in maths. Now, word problems, the way they are being treated in the classroom and the way they have to be approached during the exams is actually very different. What I found was that typically when they get the homework, it is usually at the end of the chapter. So when they just look at the problem, they would say that, okay, this is from the triangles chapter, so I have to apply some formula from triangles. And if there is the word area there, then I would use the area of the triangles formula. Or if there is the word perimeter, then I would somehow use the perimeter formula and figure it out, right? But in the exams, that doesn't happen. In the exams, they have to mix multiple concepts. They have to use language skills in order to solve the problems. All of these have to be done. But that is not the approach that is being taught in the classroom. So that's what I realized when I looked at my own son when he was going through these years. And then, I was talking to my co-founder, and we go back many years, and we were talking about this. And he had done some research on this during his MBA dissertation. And we kind of fell into the same path that there is something that we can do about this here. And coming from a IT or technology background, our first take was that can we create some kind of a software platform which can help identify what these gaps are, why the children are developing this kind of maths anxiety, why are they having the fear of maths, what are these gaps which are being created, or what are these misconceptions which are being created, which is causing them to not do very well in maths. And we kind of created an assessment. We took it to a few schools, and almost 5,000 students took that assessment as a pilot. All we did was we requested the schools that can we just give this assessment to children and understand what kind of gaps are being created or what kind of misconceptions are being created in order to understand why they are developing this kind of maths anxiety. Now, when we did this assessment, we found few interesting things. Two most important things which came out was that one, a lot of maths problem solving gaps are created because of language abilities. Because they do not have the ability to understand the problem statement well, they are not able to solve the problems. So language plays a very important role, especially for middle school and above when they go into maths problem solving. Second thing which came was also what we term as modeling, but you can give it any other name, but was the ability to strategize a solution before they solve the problem, especially in, again, middle school and above. Now we mix multiple concepts. We can ask a question where we say one angle is x, the other angle is twice the first angle, the third angle is 50 degrees less than the second angle. So what are the three angles of the triangle? Now the kids have to form some kind of a linear equation in order to solve that problem. So they also have to know linear equations, not just about three angles of a triangle. So they have to mix multiple concepts in order to solve the problem. So there is a strategy element involved. Now that approach is not being taught in the classroom. Now we gave the same test to the teachers as well. The principal said, can you give the same test to teachers? And we found that even they were lacking in the same areas. So it was very obvious that this thing is kind of flowing down from teachers to students. And it also meant that when we create some kind of a solution, then we have to involve the teachers and the schools very closely into this whole solution. And then we went back to the principals with all these reports, and they said, all this is fine, but we just don't want you to tell us this is the problem, because that's what everybody does. They can come and tell us that this is the problem, education system is broken, all these kind of things happen, but there is nobody who is coming up with a solution. So if you guys really want to do something about this, then you also have to have a solution. So that's where Counting Well was born, so to speak. We decided that we just cannot create this assessment and say that these are the problem areas. We also need to have a solution which then fixes these problem areas, which is how we came up with this whole personalized math learning platform for school children.
Sir, please tell about that also, when you had taken the assessment of teachers also.
Yeah. So when we took this assessment, there was another very interesting thing which happened, which was, and probably I think Vipin sir might relate to this very well. That one of the teachers who was given the same test, she called me and said that this is a sixth standard problem you have given me. I am an eighth standard teacher, and I cannot solve this problem because this is not what I teach. Now, this was very surprising, right? To me, who's looking at it as an outsider, I would think that because maths is, what you learn in sixth goes to seventh and then eighth and so on, why is this teacher having this issue? But what we realized as we kind of talked to the principals about this is that the teachers themselves are so boxed in. They have this 15 chapters in eighth standard to complete, that if I'm not teaching something in sixth grade, I would not even think about it. I would not even look at it. And if my students have a problem with something which they might have learned previously, there is no way I can help them overcome that problem. So it was interesting, it was shocking, but it was also eye-opening for us, right? It gave us another problem area that we needed to fix.
Wonderful, sir. And this problem had been from ages. In our times also, maybe 30 years or more than that, we had been having problem. The teachers were very strict. They were, nuns and Christians who had been teaching us, and we were not able to understand. And this is happening till now. Actually, the main problem, what I think is, one more thing is that the teachers, the way they have studied 20 or 30 years back, they are teaching in the same way. So that is also a very big problem. I feel that this is happening, and it's not. And the teacher is always having a face, कहते हैं कि वो किसी भी स्कूल में मैथ्स के टीचर को बड़े आराम से पहचान जाओगे, इसका मुंह उतरा होगा और बहुत सारा डिप्रेशन मुंह पे होगा, वो मैथ्स का टीचर ही निकलेगा वो. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much and welcome, sir. We'll come up to the next round, the question round or suggestion round. We'll come up to Hemlata ma'am. Hemlata ma'am, we would like to know your views on the saying that when children reach middle school, they start having fear of mathematics. Ma'am, you're on mute, ma'am.
Yes, sir. It is. No, right now I'm mute. Also, I'm audible. Am I audible,
Yes,
sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So it is all that math is a wonderful subject. We know, like if you have, all of us have seen Three Idiots movie, in that it says alpha, beta, gamma, marmar kga. That song is the one which always comes into my mind. The technology, engineering, medical, wherever we try to go, it is math. So the parents and the teachers who try to put the peer pressure on the child, and the anxiety level of the child becomes enormously vibrant, and it moves ups and down. Because of that, every child feels that we need to score in math, we will have to gain good mark. Being taken less by the child, they start questioning. So there becomes a potential of a child would be different because of the fear factor that is in the child. The child tries to fear for the subject and tries to do a lot of a mistake. This has been happening in our school also. The parents come, whatever it is, my child has to score good marks in math and science only. They will not demand for anything. While we try to convince them, also they try to tell ultimate is maths. So again, we ourselves sitting in the chairs, and we try to force the teachers that you see to that you give extra classes. Math of 45 minutes only for the grade of 5 becomes a fear, and another extra class is a double anxiety pressure the child takes up. Because of this, automatically, gradually, child develops some fear in his mind or her mind and try to feel that no, let us not. Because of that, by the time they go to 11 or 12, most of the candidates try to tell we don't want to take up math subject. We'll either get into humanitarian, we will either get into other subjects. But ultimately, what I feel is that it is a wonderful and a beautiful subject where it has to be given a position and a place for a child to understand the mindset of a child and make them do it. If a slow learner is all there, no problem. If a child is a fast learner, also no problem. But mistakes do happen with all of us. If we try to give them that place for understanding and make them realize that the easy methods, we know like there are many techniques which has come right now for making the child understand math beautifully. Well, like while we tell that addition or called as multiplication, instead of we introducing abacus, we try to go in our own simple Indian method of handling the subject. The child will definitely do better, sir. So that's how I try to tell is that instead of giving the pressure, give them the place for understanding the subject in a beautiful way. Play and learn, see and learn. These concepts, if we try to give them, the child will definitely understand the subject, will always want to love and want to keep that throughout their life. This is how it goes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely right, ma'am. In a gist, you have told everything. And almost all the schools are facing this problem. The students, when they're coming to the middle school, especially, they start running away from the mathematics. And when it comes to grade 11 or 12, and at the very same time, the parents, they have only two things in their mind. Either my child will become doctor or engineer. Doctor or engineer, they don't have any third option in their mind. उसके अलावा तो सारी दुनिया बेकार है. They need to have to be
Yes.
very good in mathematics. And one more thing, ma'am, Amrita, ma'am, I have understood during these sessions which are happening for mathematics that parents who do this, they had that phobia in their time, school time. You know that they had that phobia in their school time. That is why when their child grows up or during the middle age, they say them, no, beta, you have to do a lot of mathematics, बहुत difficult है. If the parent has been very good in mathematics and they know it is a easy subject, so they don't do it with the children like this. So it happens like this. Okay, if I had been not good in mathematics, the child will also be not being good in mathematics. He has to do a lot for that. Vipin sir,
That
you
is
want to say
what, sir.
anything?
Like, say, yes, sir. I just want to add up is that instead of parents demanding and commanding the child to score, you do mistake, and out of that you try to learn. It's the method. If you try to implement, I see that there is a great changes that come in the child development and understanding the subject. We know, sir, fifth is the standard where base should be proper. If the
Yes, ma'am.
basics goes wrong, then the child will definitely try to do mistakes throughout. So while the bigger problems to be solved, the child will not be in the position at all. So that way, I try to tell is that make the child confident enough to love the subject. We need to make the child to love the subject. That's what I want.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir. Vipin sir.
So I think we are the one that who creating the panic condition among the students. I think this because when you are talking about, then I just realize and correlate the same with me. My teacher, maybe she is good in geology part. So every time, beta botany is very tough subject. You can't do. And what actually happened at the last? We all afraid and we have the phobia about the botany part. And finally, what we also did the same thing that our madams at the time she has done. We have done our masters in geology. Now I'm a teacher. Now I'm explaining the same thing to my students. Beta botany is very tough. You can't learn all these things. So geology is best part. You can go. So same thing happened in the students. What I have faced here in school also, that teachers maybe they are not sometimes the ego factor attitude. Sometimes we are not means explain the topic at the level of the students what they are need and what they are demanding.
Right.
So in that condition
The
we are also
teachers,
creating
you
the
want to say that teachers create a fear beforehand only before starting they create a fear. Sir,
yes.
I was an accountancy teacher, commerce teacher, accountancy, and you know it very well in grade 11 CBSE students or ICSE students they take commerce and accountancy. So the first question used to come in the mind of the child was, sir, is accountancy very difficult? So my answer was always this, sir, this beta, this is the easiest subject on the earth. So you see, it's just like doctor. When you're saying a patient in a critical position, you're saying, क्या डॉक्टर साहब क्या है? If you say them कि ना कि कुछ नहीं है, हो जाएगा, थोड़ा सा ही लगा है, सब ठीक हो जाएगा, everything will be fine. So see, 80% of the cure is being done because of the the mentality that the person is having. Only 20% work is needed. So that is also very important. The teachers in the senior classes and the middle schools, they start creating that Howard type of thing on the student that is going to be very difficult. At the very same time, the parents are also saying that. So that creates a pressure. So then I
Sir,
will also like to, yes, sir.
this is also the one of the tactics to fetch the attention of the students about the particular subject. But math is
Right.
very tough, difficult, so you have to be more concentrated in that. So this is also
Yes,
the
sir.
one of the tactics by the teachers and also creating the phobia and anxiety among the students.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you so much, sir. We'll come on to Sunaina ma'am. Sunaina ma'am, we will also like to know your views on the same. When the students, they come in middle school, they start having phobia or fear of mathematics.
I would like to second the thoughts of my worthy colleagues, like Vipin sir said, the teachers, yes, they do create this power and change the mindsets of the students. Because the teacher, he is highly educated. He has all the knowledge of the subject. But when he thinks of imparting that knowledge to the students, he thinks how to teach, the students will not be able to do. So the negative mindset he transfers to the students. So definitely he creates that terror in the minds of the students, and he becomes strict also because he feels that students are scared, they won't be doing the homework and they won't be doing the classwork as well. So he becomes strict and strict. Somewhere I feel it is required to be strict with the students when teaching maths. This is a contrary statement. I will talk to this about this statement later on. It is required to be strict because the students are already scared of this subject, so they won't be practicing it when it comes to homework. So if the teachers are not strict, the child will not be practicing the sums given at home. So next day he will come like a blank slate. So I remember the incident of my childhood when I was slapped when I was in class 8. So I was tightly slapped on my cheek, and that was a turning point in my life. So from that day, I started working hard with the fear that I will be scolded or beaten up. So, and then when I was practicing maths, I found the maths was the most logical subject. So there was nothing to be feared at all. And slowly this practice made me develop love for the subject as well. So,
Right.
but instead of creating terror or fear in the minds of the students, what the teacher should do, he should connect the mathematical concepts with the real life situations, and that will definitely make the subject more interesting, and the whys will be satisfied. Why we are learning this subject, what is the need? When we are teaching science, we tell that everywhere science is everywhere around us, and when I talk to the students, I tell them maths is there all around us. It is there in each and everything. If we do not have the knowledge of maths, we won't be able to construct even a small table, not this window. We won't be able to paint the house. We won't be able to fix a fan in our room if we do not have the proper measurements and all. So maths is there everywhere, even in small leaves, it is there. So I connect this concept with the real life situation. I ask them to this measure the blackboards, why the square is called a square, why the triangle is a triangle. So when they start playing with the concepts, they start loving it. So the teachers do create a terror because they want the students to mug up everything, mug up all the formula instead of telling why this formula is there, what is the need of it, why is it, how is it driven in everything. They want the children to be Einstein in a night, and they want the children to mug up each and every formula so that they can
Right.
solve the sum. Like sir already said that multiple texts are required to solve a problem, right? So the teachers definitely do this to create, so that the children out of fear do their sums regularly just to make them complete their homework instead of making their concepts clear and making them love their subject.
Absolutely right, ma'am. You're right, ma'am. Actually, the teachers also they have burden in their mind that a 40 minutes class and a 40 students class. How can we pay attention to all the students? How come we know that in which chapter the child is lacking this and that? They cannot read their mind. There are many things which are into the mind, and many of the times they are right also because they
They
have
are
a lot
right.
of burden. They have a
Hmm.
lot of burden also on that. How can we do that? We have a savior today. Nirmal sir, he will be telling about that. But before that, we'll come up to Vipin sir also. Let us know about his views also about mathematics. Sir, according to you, what rules are you applying in your schools? What ways are you applying, or you will suggest that to make maths more pleasure or a fun learning?
Yes. So no doubt, sir, the math is difficult. Student having the phobia and they feel the boredom in this subject. But there are so many ways by implementing these ways we can make the mathematics subject more fun loving. So I just want to suggest some of the ideas that I am having and we are implementing here. Um Such a we have the mathematics lab, we have developed the mathematics labs, and we have fixed the period for the students. The reason behind this that the students they are not able to, the small kids, they have the count, they're just counting the number 1 2, and when they are reaching to the 9 19 29, they just forget that after 19 this is 20 or 30 or 50. So I think when we have the mathematics labs are there, so we are they are going and playing with that, models are there, so they are easy way to learn the things for them. Another way to learn the mathematics, uh, give some hand-on practices to the students. As much as we give the hand-on practices to them, so they will become the familiar with that subject. The next one is the when we are dealing the math subjects, we have to also cater about the child centered. Means while we are preparing the curriculum for the student, it must be child centered rather than we are taking the whole the class into count, because the different mindsets are there in the single classroom. So while preparing and connected that classroom, we have to approach child, our approach must be the child centered. Next, when we are explaining the concept in the classrooms, all these things what we have calculated, and I just note down all these things we are facing. When we are starting the mathematics, we have to start from simple to complex, because with this they are also gaining the confidence that yes, I can do, and this is the best way to improve the mathematics skills, and also to make them uh, having the confidence in the subject. Other one, along with this, we can connect these students with their real life and the real world. While we are teaching something, rather than explaining on the board, we can teach them practically all these things in the nature. Counting, if you are counting, that we are explaining these concepts with the help of stairs in the schools, counting the tables, benches in the schools. We are taking all these students in the ground, and we are also counting the number of trees in the ground. So these are the ways, with the help of that we can connect these students, we can create the interest in the students. Other than this, will also there are some other ways to not only to teach the mathematics as a subject, we have to teach the mathematics to integrate the mathematics with the other subject also. There are so many applications of the mathematics which are interrelated with the physics subject, mathematics, geography, biology. In each and every field there are mathematics having the importance role. I can say that mathematics is the father of all the branches of the science and the field of the sciences. So we can create the interest of the students rather than creating the phobia and the anxiety among the students. So
Thank you
that's
so
all
much,
about.
sir. Thank you so much, sir. The wonderful things you are doing up in your school. There is a phobia among the student for sure for mathematics till now, and we have to remove that because maths is everywhere. Even if you're cooking at home, a lady or somebody is cooking at home, there also you need mathematics. So it is always there 24 into 7 in your life. Mathematics has to be with you. And it has been seen with the students when they are very good at mathematics, they are good at other subjects also. That is also some way directly or indirectly concerned also. Thank you so much, sir. Vipin sir. We'll come up to Nilmal sir. Nilmal sir, first of all, as an expert, you have heard all the eminent guests. What do you say about what they are saying? And please let us more about how, like we have just now, I was also saying that, that the maths teacher, they have a lot of burden, so many chapters, so many exercises they have to do. They have to do the corrections also. They have to make the assignments also. They have to correct it also. And they have to see that the result is good because it is a practical approach subject. It has not to be mucked up like the other subjects are. There's a lot of pressure on the maths teacher. So how you people are helping the students and the teachers to get rid of this and making it very easy for them, sir?
Sure, sir. So I think the most common thread which came out in all the everybody's conversation was about how teachers are creating this whole sense of uh, that maths is very important, it's very critical, but at the same time, that itself is leading to maths anxiety. Uh, while I agree with that teachers do that often, even parents do that, everybody does that, right? Maths, maths, maths. But I think that the other thing that goes with that is also that most often teachers are not able to tell the children where they're lacking. So they might keep saying that, you're not doing well in maths, maths is important, you're not doing well in maths, maths is important. Now, if the kid goes and asks the teacher, "Hey, what should I fix or how should I fix it?" The teacher does not know. So then the response comes is keep practicing, right? Just practice, practice, practice. Now, the problem that comes out of that keep practicing situation is that you ask the child to practice the same thing irrespective of what is the level of the child. So what really happens is if there are 40 kids in the class, and even let's say we take homework, right? Homework is the best form of practice when it comes to maths because they give that every day in the book. And typically in the maths textbook, there are a whole set of exercises. So all they would say is go chapter 5A. There are 15 questions. Do question number 1 to 8 today and come back tomorrow. So that's how the homework is assigned. Now, there is no differentiation when the homework is assigned as to if the child is not able to do the simplest of homework, how is he going to do the more complex homework? So we are giving all children the same homework. If we give very simple homework, then the children who are ahead in the class will start feeling bored because they will think that, this is too simple for me. So are we creating enough challenge for children that they feel that it is challenging, but at you also make it at a level where they feel that it is an achievable challenge, right? Which means that basically it leads to creating differentiated homeworks, creating homeworks in a way where we are able to assign different questions to different children based on what their current abilities are, and let them reach the next level of ability, and then we give them the next level of homework. And I think that would automatically answer your next question: how do we make it fun and interesting, right? So one part of making it fun and interesting is, of course, making it colorful, adding gamification, giving some nice sounds and badges and things like that when the children achieve something, which is a very basic level of making it fun. But also I think the most important part is that when we are able to differentiate this homework and say that every child is going to get a different level of questions based on where they are, then they will be able to achieve that level. When they are able to achieve that level, then they start developing confidence in themselves. They start feeling that, yes, I can do this. When that happens, they become better self learners. They also find it fun, right? They start thinking that agar mere se ho payega to isme maza aayega, right? If it is something which I cannot achieve, then it is never going to be fun. So that's the whole point of making it fun, that we give them the confidence and we make it achievable for them. At the same time, we keep that slight level of challenge for them, that it's not so easy that they start getting bored with it. So I hope that answers your question.
How it is helping the teachers also? I mean, how are they getting rid of some burden, and they are able to give more stress on the weak points of the children.
Correct. So there are two aspects to this, sir. One is that uh, it helps the teachers understand what exactly are the. For example, in our case, we have mapped every year's maths content into nearly 300 learning outcomes. So for every chapter, it roughly translates to around 20 learning outcomes. Now, what happens with that is that when the child is not able to do something, we can pinpoint very specific learning outcomes for every child, whether they've been able to achieve that or not. As a class, the teacher can look at it and say, on an average, the class is how many learning outcomes the whole class has achieved, or how many learning outcomes a majority of the children are not able to achieve, so where do they have to focus. So for the teacher, it becomes easier to determine where they have to provide the intervention, not at the time of the term exam, not at the time of the half yearly exam, but while they are teaching a particular concept or a chapter itself. And that is how true formative assessments are done, right? Today, most of the time, even though we keep talking about a variety of formative assessments, the only real formative assessment which happens in the classroom is show of hands. Teacher asks, how many of you understood? The kids in the front row says, yes, we understood. And the teacher assumes that it's a cue for me to move forward, right? They will not stop, step back, and ask other children whether you did understand or not. Because if somebody says that I didn't understand, it will slow them down, and they don't want to slow down. So if we are able to substantiate this with data and tell the teachers that these are very specific learning outcomes that have not been achieved, then it becomes easier for the teacher. Instead of simply saying, I understood or not understood, now you start seeing what they have not understood, right? Second is that the way we create this whole differentiated homework, we do the correction of the homework, we take away the administrative burden of the teachers. Now, the other thing which happens with teachers, of course, is that they have to assign the homework, they have to correct the homework, they have to give feedback to the children. If they do all this, where is the time to actually prepare for the next day's lessons? Where is the time to do that one-on-one intervention for the children? That's not there. So by automating all of this through our platform, what we have done is that the questions are automatically assigned through a platform. We have already got thousands of questions for every year of content. So we have a number of questions. Now, based on the child's learning level, different questions get automatically assigned. They get automatically corrected. So the teacher just gets to see the final data. We even provide the first level of intervention to the child. So if they get something wrong, then they get immediate feedback. This is why you have got it wrong. This is where you have made a mistake, and this is how you have to correct it. Then we provide the learning also to the child. Now, by doing this, what also happens is that normally teacher corrects the homework separately. They don't do it in front of the children. Now, when that happens, the teacher is never able to give proper feedback to children. All they can do is they can say that this is right or this is wrong. And the child has to figure it out why they got it right or why they got it wrong. At most, the teacher will redline a particular part of the question and say, this is where you got it wrong. They will not tell you why, right? So if we are able to do all that intervention, then what happens is the teacher is freed up from all this kind of administrative burden. We are able to give immediate feedback to the child, and it gives teacher the time to provide that remedial intervention based on very clear data which is generated based on how they are solving the problems.
So, simple way we can say that children are helped in the way that the most important thing is children hesitate. They don't ask questions inside the class. Even they are if not they are not able to understand. They don't put up their hand and say, "Ma'am, we have not. I'm not able to understand. Please repeat it," because they feel that the other students they'll make fun of him. कि तुमको ये भी नहीं आता इतना भी नहीं आता. That is why they do not put up their hands and they don't ask, and they keep on moving back and back and back with the subject. Now, having with this app at their comfort of time, any time 24 into 7, they can open up the app, and the app can be an AI based, can be a one-to-one teacher to him, and wherever he is doing wrong, the app will help him that where you are going wrong and how you have to correct yourself. And when the child goes back home at his comfort, whenever he studies with the app, again when he comes back to the next day to the class, he's equal to the students who have understood that. So that way he is able to bridge up that gap, what happens throughout the classes, and which keeps on moving back and back. That is good. And coming up to the teachers, it is very easy. Why? Because the teachers don't have to make assignments. They don't have to do the corrections. So lot of time is saved to him, to the teacher. This time they can give up the classes to the remedial classes to the students. How can they give the remedial classes? Because it is giving the report also, which is the chapter where the children are lacking. Because report comes up to their, as you told earlier also, report comes up to the teacher that at which subject what children are, they are not able to do much. So when the teacher sees that there's a graph where maximum students are not able to do this chapter, they come up back to the same chapter or the topic, and they are able to understand, and they are not able to make excuse even. Okay, how do we know that where the child is lacking?
Yeah.
So both the ways it is helpful.
That is the most important part, right? Now, this data is not just sitting with the teacher. It is available to the HODs. It is available to the principal,
Yeah.
right? So you cannot simply say that
Yes,
he
sir.
know where my class is, right? You have to know because data is
Sir,
right.
sir, this is the only both the ways. It is the reason student is not asking in the class. उसको समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, वो दिन ब दिन पीछे होता जा रहा है, and the maths phobia is, it becomes a phobia ultimately. At the very same time, teacher is regularly going the same way into the classes, doing 2 3 questions on the board. Okay, is it clear? आ गया? Okay, yes sir, हो गया. Okay, 3 4 hands up means teacher is clear that this has been done.
Yeah.
And when it has been asked why your result is so down, why the children are passing in all the subjects and failing your subject or getting less mark in your subject, what can I do, sir? They are not practicing very well. So these are all the reasons, and this is a very good thing. The children are getting help, as well as the teachers are also getting help. If they are able to understand, they are coming to know, okay, where the children are lacking, and the students at their comfort 24 into 7. The app is helping them to understand the topic which they were not able to get up in this. Thank you so much, sir. We'll also like to know more about it in the later part of the session. We'll come to the next round. We are in the shortage of time. We'll keep it very quick round with a 1 minute answer. I'll come up to Hemlata ma'am. Hemlata ma'am, according to you, how does technology helps in making maths more easy and interesting?
So, as we all have been exposed, all of us know that nothing is impossible, or it is like without gadgets in hand, because we started our online classes. While we could do the online classes, we also decided that we can do anything with the technology. Technology is one source which we will have to introduce it, as we tell it as blended learning, which is required with the utility and combination of technology, where we now talk about flex room methods, we talk about digital rooms, we talk about math labs, computerized, artificial intelligence. All this is one which requires a technology behind. Without technology, now we cannot say anything as no to it, because all of us have been understood that it is serving our purpose in a better way and a easier way. So that way, technology included for learning mathematics would develop a mental ability of a child even more way with the support of a teacher. I would say without a teacher, it cannot happen. Teacher is must, because he or she is the backbone for anything and everything that the child has to develop for. But
Obviously.
along with that, added lighter way of child understanding, work being easy, because now it is we have understood, sir, we need the child to understand within a small span of time how much of work the child can do, because while we talk about calculations in mathematics, it requires step by step. If that is being used along with the technology, it makes the child to go in a better way. We know there are flipped classrooms where we are introducing it, we have introduced in the school, and that is also serving our plus blended classrooms, which is serving our purpose. So that way I would try to tell that technology is must and mandatory for every child. But along with that, I want to add is that there is a lacuna that all the urban schools are utilizing it. But while we try to go with the rural blend and a semi-rural blend, there is a big drawback where still the children are not in the method of understanding through technology. But we should introduce this everywhere. That's what I want to try to consider.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. So Nana ma'am, we'll come up to you, ma'am. Again,
Yeah.
we'll like to ask the same question, ma'am. How this technology makes maths more interesting and easy? Ma'am, you're on mute, ma'am.
If we want to make a subject interesting, first of all, we need to understand the capacity, the potential of the students. As you said, that the teacher has to complete the syllabus and the common lesson is taught in the class instead of going for the personalized tutor. So instead of understanding what a child needs and where he is lacking behind, where his concepts are not clear, and the teacher has this excuse that I cannot go to each and every child and make the basic concepts clear, which were supposed to be done in the previous classes. So the pressure is there to complete the syllabus. If we have the help of technology, the things will be faster, the completion of the syllabus will be done quickly, plus the personalized problem solving method could be possible. Like Nirmal said, if the child is appearing in a test online, so the child comes to know where the gap is there, where is the problem area, so that area can be catered to later on. So and plus the other things, the concept clearance we talk about, we teach in a very conventional method. A math is not that easy thing that you write something on the board and the things are understood easily. Something which is 3D in nature, but we are showing only 2D on the board. And if with the help of smart board or any other gadget, the 3D things are rotated and shown, and the complete concept of a cubes can be made clear, the child would definitely take more interest in that and would understand this thing clearly. So technology will be quickly solving the things also, helping the students also. Somewhere I feel conventional method of learning the tables was required. That is required today also as a basic thing. But now the technology has moved a lot. Advancement is there, and we also need to move quickly. We cannot stuck up on one simple problem for quite long hours. If the technology is there, we will be doing it quickly and accurately. I don't want the students to take help of calculators or any other gadget like that, so that their mental ability is deterred somewhere. But in order to clear the subject, the concepts, if we show them so in a visual manner, so that will have a deeper impact on their minds, and they would start loving the subject, and the fear will also be removed.
Right.
So technology
Right,
is
ma'am.
there.
Thank you so much, ma'am. According to you, technology helps a lot to the children to understand the things in a better way. Thank you so much, ma'am. We will come up to Vipin sir. Vipin sir, we would like to know your views on the saying that blended learning has helped the students to grow in a better way. Sorry, you're on mute.
Before going to explain this topic, I just add on here, whatever the technologies, whatever the instrument that we are using, they only the source of information. They cannot provide the knowledge, and the knowledge can be provided in the real classroom, that is face to face, or that we can call it as the traditional teaching methods. But here I just want to suggest you that the blending learning means the usage of the technology in our traditional classrooms or the face-to-face classrooms, and how it has changed our mindset and the aura in the society during the pandemic that we have seen. So it's a time saving. We are getting the online courses at the same place. Time saving, time, we can reduce the wastage of time. We can, it's a flexible as per the demand and the need of the individual. It can be easily rotational, and it can be easily changed. Next, I just want to, it has also breaks the traditional balls of the teaching learning. By the technology method, we have means overcome and uprooted the so many problems like the phobia among the students. They can easily interact face on face to face interaction is there. We can easily assess the growth of the child, whatever they have the learning gaps, they have scored the marks, and easily we can access and we can easily track, and we can solve that problem, that particular child and that they are facing. With this, they can learn easily with the help of different kind of activities. There are so many different activities they are available on the online courses, so they can explain the one topic in the many different ways. There are so many apps, Khan Academy, Vedantu, so many others, so they are explaining the concept in the different ways. So in that way, the blended learning is good, and this is the demand of the 21st century and the era.
Hello. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh my, I think there was some technical problem. Thank you so much, sir. Nirmal sir, will come up to you first of all as an expert again. Anything you want to talk about second round? Uh, then I like to know two things from you. The first thing is that we have seen that during the pandemic, the children they have not studied at all. They had the Google Baba had been doing all the papers. There had been a gap of learning in precise. Suppose a child was in grade 6 and 7, and now he is in 8 after pandemic. He has a learning gap of especially mathematics of grade 6 and 7. How do your app helps to cope up with all this? And second thing is, what I want to say is that अभी तो मोबाइल छुड़वाया था हमने, आप फिर से मोबाइल पकड़ाने के लिए कह रहे हैं ऐप के थ्रू, तो उसका भी व्हाट इज द सोल्यूशन अबाउट दैट सर?
Sure, sir. So I think, I mean, everybody pretty much agreed that technology and blending is the way to go. And obviously, the pandemic has taught us a lot about what is the right way to blend as well. So I think now technology has moved beyond simply implementing an LMS or using it to send reminders to students or using it to, track the fee receipts and things like that. It has gone way beyond that. It has even gone beyond simply playing videos in the classroom and saying that we have technology here, right? For example, what we are able to do is we are able to use the real power of technology by extracting, analyzing, and presenting data in a very easily understandable manner to teachers, at the same time personalizing the whole learning experience for the child, right? That's the real power of technology. It goes way beyond simply playing a video and saying that you've learned something. That is what the kids had been doing during the pandemic. They all looked at YouTube videos and they thought they learned, but they actually didn't really achieve anything, which is where this whole point goes back, that without the teacher's presence, the learning cannot happen, right? And hence the learning has to be blended. It cannot be either teacher driven only or technology only. Now, to answer your question about the learning deficit, of course, we did realize and we saw that whole experience of learning deficit and its effect on children. I think that learning deficit even happens during summer holidays, right? So if the kids come back after summer holidays, you see that they've already forgotten some of what they've learned in the previous classes. They come back from, let's say, a 15-day or 10-day Christmas break. They come back with a small learning deficit. That's something which constantly keeps happening. So one of the things that we have done, for example, is in order to address this learning deficit is when we do this assessment on the children to identify what the learning gaps are, we also assess what they do not know from the previous years or from related topics for that matter. So, for example, if there is an 8th standard child who is trying to solve an 8th grade problem and they are not able to solve it, we ask them to solve a 7th grade problem from a related topic, right, which they should have learned in order to achieve that 8th grade learning outcome. If they are not able to solve that, we go back to 6th grade. So we find where exactly that gap has started and then give them the learning from that point onward, so that that learning deficit can be overcome or that can be plugged. So that is one way of helping them overcome the whole learning deficit scenario. The second thing you asked me was that, abhi to mobile chhudaya hai, now you are saying that use mobile. There are two things which we have done for this, right? So first, is that the way we have structured our learning program is that we have broken down and we have linked all the learning content with each of the learning outcomes that I talked about, right? So nearly 300 learning outcomes means that there are nearly 300 different pieces of learning content. We call this micro learning content. Now, when we give the learning plan to the child, what we do is we just give them 3 to 4 learning outcomes to be achieved on a single day. And each of this learning outcome has a 5 to 7 minute learning module associated with that. So by doing that, what happens is that they only do 3 to 4 learning outcomes, which means that spending anywhere between 20 to 25 minutes, they are able to achieve these 3 to 4 learning outcomes. And with that, we ask them to stop. So we say that 20 minutes is enough for the day. You don't spend any more time than that. So that way we are able to restrict the screen time. Even the parents know that if they are doing something on counting well, the child is going to use it for 20 to 30 minutes, no more than that. So, they also know that if the child is spending more time on the phone, he's doing something else, it's kind of an alarm for them as well. The other very interesting thing which we have done, which I have not shown you also, I'll show this to you for the first time, is we created something called a maths practice book. I don't know if you can see this very clearly, but we created an e-workbook, which is basically not a textbook, but a workbook of a series of maths problems that they solve. And then there is a kind of a OMR sheet which we have. So all they do is that they mark their answers here and scan it with the phone. So most of the problem solving they do not have to do on the phone. They can do it on this book. When they do it in the book and scan it, then the app takes over. So the AI in the app will identify all the answers they have marked. It will then determine what are the learning gaps and then give them the specific learning plan, which then they can do on the app. So now it becomes blended, not just in the classroom, but even when they are trying to solve the problems by themselves sitting at home, they can still take this book, solve the problems in the book, and then just scan it and learn. Same things. In fact, this came as a feedback from a lot of teachers as well. They said that we don't want them to go home and solve the problems. We want them to do it in front of us. So that's how we started developing this. And we said now the kids can actually sit in the classroom, solve the problems, and the teacher can just scan the answers and they will get all the data they require. So
Right.
that solves this problem of overuse of the gadgets as well.
That is something good, sir, because both the answers you told that a child who is not able to do about eighth class question right now after 2 years of pandemic, the teacher will not teach him the questions related to seventh or sixth for sure. He will have to take the teacher. I will have to take care of that class only.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when the child goes up to the app, he's not able to solve the answer of grade 8. So that seventh level, grade level questions will come to him again. He'll not be able to solve. The app will take him to till the root where he gets the remedy of that, the basics he get of that, and again he'll be coming back to sixth and seventh and again back to eighth. So this is the bridging of the gap of these 2 years is very important, which has happened with the maximum or 100% of the children that has happened. And the second important thing is that 25 to 30 minutes maximum app has to be used. That is also a good thing. And it is also clear that it is not going to remove the role of the teacher. It is always a tool. It is not the facilitator. Facilitator will always be the teacher for sure. That is very important. It is helping the students as well as the teachers. Wonderful things you have created, sir, because I've been knowing through many of the schools and many of the administrators that it is helping a lot to the schools. And so many big brands also, they have told me that yet yes, it is helping a lot as improve the standard and learning of mathematics among the students. That is very important. Thank you so much, sir, and all the best to you, sir. Coming up to the last 5 to 10 minutes part, which you already know very well, it is a me time. So when you're talking of me time, Hemlata ma'am is sitting at a very good place. I had been seeing that the trees were there. I think coconut trees were over there, and feel like going to Bangalore right now and be over there in Bangalore. Have a
Sir, you're
pleasant.
welcome, sir.
Sir,
Welcome.
ma'am, Nirmal sir
And
is also from Bangalore, ma'am. Nirmal sir is also from
oh,
Bangalore.
is it?
Yeah, you don't see the
Oh,
coconut tree,
nice.
right?
That is like
So,
because
so
green all where we there is rain all the time right now, and weather is awesome. So that way, I would invite you to visit Bangalore. It's looking very
Thank you so
pleasing
much,
and
sir.
beautiful, except for
When
the
I,
traffic jam chaos.
it is everywhere, ma'am. It is everywhere. It is
Yeah,
happening in all the parts of the
that's it.
country, here in Kanpur also and Jaipur also and Bangalore. Everywhere, this is a traffic problem. Nana ma'am was also stuck up in traffic when she had to come. But that has become a big problem. You can't do anything to that. No, when
True.
we'll come up to Counting when sir will sponsor us and all the principals will have a get together at
Uh,
his place or wherever
Yeah,
sir will
sure.
be hosting us.
happy
We
to.
will be hosting us. We'll be his guest. Thank you so much, sir. So coming up to the beautiful weather which is at your back, ma'am, Hamlita ma'am, two lines,
Yes,
ma'am,
sir.
original
So,
or
what do you
Hindi,
want me
whichever,
to?
whichever.
For the place and the ambience, wherever I am sitting, I would try to tell, "Ye sham mastani madhosh liye jaye." That is what I want to try to tell, sir. Because evenings are evenings, beautiful while it is with family, and it is good while we try to interact like this and connect like this, so that the atmosphere supports, and we will also try to love to talk more and more, sir. Isham Masutani Madhosh liye jaye or dur chale jaye. That's it, sir.
Wonderful, ma'am. Well tried, ma'am. Sunana, ma'am.
Now my turn.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I connect my songs with my profession and my passion, which is for the education, for my subjects, that is maths mainly and English. So something which I can connect to this song is "तू इस तरह से मेरी जिंदगी में शामिल है जहाँ भी जाऊँ ये लगता है तेरी महफिल है ये आसमान ये बादल ये रास्ते ये हवा ये आसमान ये बादल ये रास्ते ये हवा हर एक चीज है अपनी जगह ठिकाने से कई दिनों से शिकायत नहीं जमाने से ये जिंदगी सफर है सफर की मंजिल है जहाँ भी जाऊँ ये लगता है तेरी महफिल है Thank you, sir.
This is when the child gets the confidence over mathematics, maybe through counting well app. So he is enjoying that. Now I am very happy. कोई भी दुख मेरे पास नहीं, कोई भी complaint नहीं है मेरे पास. All the problems, all the chapters have been solved. Thank you so much, ma'am. Wonderful, ma'am. Wonderful.
He should be dreaming about maths.
Yes,
Even
ma'am.
when sleeping, the math should be so much in the mind. He should be so much engrossed with the subject that should be in his dreams, and so many problems are solved while sleeping also.
Yes, ma'am. Pipin, sir. Your turn, sir.
सर सॉन्ग्स तो मेरे को चलो बस 2 लाइनें आती हैं सर, ज्यादा मेरे को गाने आते नहीं।
हमको 2 ही लाइन
जिंदगी
चाहिए, सर.
जी जिंदगी से जंग जीत लेंगे हम, साथी जो अगर तेरा साथ वो सर। एक्चुअली मेरे को गाने याद नहीं रहते, बाकी सब याद रहता है।
ठीक है, सर. सर आपको याद करके आना चाहिए था, सर. आपको पता था सर गाना गाना पड़ेगा, सर. आप खुद पेपर आउट हो चुका पहले से.
चलो नेक्स्ट टाइम सर डेफिनेटली
श्योर,
प्रिपेयर
श्योर,
कर।
श्योर. बट यू ट्राइड, सर. यू ट्राइड, सर. निर्मल सर, विल यू ट्राई?
I will try, sir. And I
ऑल द
know
बेस्ट, सर.
song for this. Uh, so it goes like this: जो सोचे जो चाहे वो करके दिखा दें, हम वो हैं जो 2 और 2 5 बना दें. Perfect for counting well.
तूने भी जाना नहीं, मुझे पहचाना नहीं। हम है काउंटिंग वेल, हम निर्मल शाह, आई एम काउंटिंग वेल। तुम्हें 2 और 2 5 बना देंगे। दैट मीन्स वट एवर यू आर फीलिंग दैट यू विल बी एबल टू मैथमेटिक्स, you will become perfect in mathematics. We'll make sure for that. That's wonderful, sir. Thank you so much, Dilbar sir.
Your
I
turn
hope.
now. You
Sorry,
cannot.
ma'am.
It's your turn now. You also have
My
a
turn.
question. Yes.
I
Yes,
am
sir,
also
it's
not
your
remembering.
turn.
You are the showstopper.
Very true.
I don't remember any song as of now, but हो सकता है कि पुराना घिसा पिटा गाना फिर से बोल दें। आने वाला पल जाने वाला है, हो सके तो इसमें जिंदगी बिता दो, पल जो ये जाने वाला है। हो आने वाला पल जाने वाला है। थैंक यू।
Very true. Very nice.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I hope you had a wonderful time. And
Yes, sir, we did.
Nirmal sir, I'll congratulate you and thank you also because you took up of busy schedule, you took up the time and wonderful thing you have created for the education industry. Hats off to you. And I think this is going to help all the schools for very well.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Vipin sir, Nirmal sir, Surena ma'am, and Rita ma'am. Hope to see you another season, another session very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.